It's on.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone please be seated? We're going to start the next panel soon. Hi, everyone. We're going to start very soon. If you can all take your seat, we're on for a treat. But I first have one question. Raise your hands if you thought that the big surprise was about Gallo glass.
Thank you all for being so patient and getting through this. And a big thank you to everyone at Sundance, Shutter, the Deborah Harkness team, Bad Wolf, and just everyone who was involved in bringing this big surprise to you all. And now, raise your hands if you've listened to Demons Discuss. Then you're all in for a giant treat.
It's my pleasure to introduce Angela, Jean, and Valerie. No last name like Cher.
Thank you. You're celebrity.
How do you follow that, though?
I know. Not only that, we're in between the show and happy hour.
Yeah.
No pressure.
We'll do the best we can.
Yes, definitely. So if you've listened to our podcast, you'll know that I am not sad after our big premiere here. Did everyone love it?
Jean is not sad.
Not sad. But we're going to kick off our live feed with a reading from the Book of Life.
The Book of Deb.
Book of Death. They're all the books of death.
Yes.
Yes. I thought he was painting your portrait. It was supposed to be a surprise. Jack told me he was painting your portrait. Instead, Jack had painted the two of us together in the formal drawing room of one of the house's grand windows. God, I'm nervous. After all this, I'm nervous. Let me start again.
Be Adele. Do it again.
Yes.
I'll be Adele and do it again.
But again.
Instead, Jack had painted the two of us together in the formal drawing room of one of the house's grand windows. Matthew reached over my shoulder to clasp my raised left hand, our fingers woven tight. My head was angled slightly towards him, and his was angled slightly down, as though we had been interrupted mid-conversation. The pose exposed my left wrist and the Ouroboros that circled my pulse. It sent a signal of strength and solidarity, the symbol of the Bishop Claremonts. Our family had begun with a surprising love that had developed between Matthew and me. It grew because of our bond, which was strong enough to withstand the hatred and fear of others. And it would endure because we had discovered, like the witches so many centuries ago, that a willingness to change was a secret of survival. More than that, the Ouroboros symbolized our partnership. Matthew and I were an alchemical marriage of vampire and witch, death and life, sun and moon. That combination of opposites created something finer and more precious than either of us could have ever been separately. We were the 10th knot, unbreakable, without beginning or end. Family, that was Diana's destination and the theme at the heart of the trilogy. Finding one, building one, reclaiming one, accepting one. So it's only fitting that we kick off this year's con and spend a few minutes unpacking what it means to be a family in the All Souls universe, the hows, the whys, and the whats. Hope you enjoy our panel.
All right, guys. Hi, everyone. I recently lost my voice, may or may not have happened last night. So
She's got to pick it up from sedition.
yes. So please bear with me. We need you guys to participate in order for this panel to work, okay? So I am going to call out something, and I need you to shout it back. No need for microphones at this point, but shout it back to me, and Angela's going to repeat it for the live streamers. And so here's what we're going to do. I need you. Okay, this is the part where you're going to participate. Okay. All right. So I'm going to need you to describe a vampire family in one word. What's that?
Packed. Centric. Loyal. Complex.
Scary.
Solid, fierce, scary.
Timeless. Rules. I like that one. Structure. Strategic. I think we have our two.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're good. Thank you guys. Thanks for participating. All right, so I want to start with rules. Who said that? All right, come up and open it. Why do you say it's rule driven? Yeah. Right, but there's always that one person.
Every family's got it.
Thank you. What's your name? All right, so who said pack? Tell me about it.
So vampires are very basic down to their animal instincts. So they relate to wolves, and the wolves have one leader, and the Claremonts have Philippe, and Philippe was the lead wolf, and whatever they said, he did. Whatever he said, they did.
So you would say that would be the
Yeah.
structure.
Basic structure. It's down to the core of their DNA. It's ingrained in them. It's something that comes natural. Nobody has to say anything. It's just a part of being a vampire.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Molly Biggs.
Molly Biggs. Hi, Molly.
Hi. What do you guys think about mating? Life. No answer, really?
Incredibly complicated.
What would you say if I told you it was incredibly simple?
Okay, so from Diana, it's
Let's dial it back from how rules help you make the brass tacks of have no decision in the process.
Yeah.
Your mate is your mate.
And it's irrevocable for one party at least.
Yeah.
Well done, madam. Well done.
Very nicely played.
But they were talking about in Discovery of Witches how when Matthew was telling Diana, that's it, it's just going to be us. But that when he was describing Isabeau and Philippe's relationship, he said they would separate for times and just go off but they would always come back together. So yeah, that's your mate, that's your life, but they're going to live forever. So there has to be those times of, just tell your husband, go downstairs for a little
Just
while.
go away.
But for them, it's a couple of months or a couple of years or something. So they would separate for a while,
Probably
but they
a
would
couple
always come
hundred
back
years,
together.
though. Probably a couple hundred years.
Let's
Bye.
follow that up. I'll pose this question to you. Do you think that dynamics of mating affect form and function of a
I think so, yes, but I think it's very complicated because there's even parts like that Isabeau knew things and didn't tell them. So how do you do that with your mate? There may be things that you know about other things that you might not tell them or until it was time to tell them. So that I think sometimes plays on a relationship, that you're supposed to follow the rules if someone's, that whole rule structure of being a vampire. But if you're mated to somebody, you're committed to them, but there's still maybe other things that you're not going to share with them or until the time is right, sort of thing.
No.
Yeah, the blood vow.
blood sign?
Bring them here. They need to
Miss
hear you.
Christine,
They need to hear you
stand
on live
up.
stream. So come up here and tell us
They
all
need to
about
hear
it.
you. Hi, Christine, we got you up here.
Hi. What I was going to say is there's also a difference between paterfamilias of the family. There was a lot more on him than would have been on Matthew. Matthew just had to worry about but Diana and at some point the and his other children, where so much more fell on Philippe, and that's why Matthew couldn't imagine not having Diana there. But where Philippe almost a way of breaking away a little bit. And
Yeah.
So we see vampire families as autocratic, and because vampires are made as adults, it seems like it's a family of choice, but it's really not. It's only the sire's choice.
Yeah.
It's a family of the
one
sire's
person's
choice.
But Matthew's blood rage also complicated their mating issue,
Yeah.
because that was why he couldn't stand to be apart from her. He couldn't do Philippe, and Isabeau did,
Yes.
Yep.
because the blood rage wouldn't allow it. So if you have a vampire with blood rage, the mating situation is going to be different.
Think about it in human terms. If you had let's say, human person with anger issues, do you think he'd be able to separate very well from his mate? Oh, it's kind of the same. Maybe different. I don't know.
No.
I think he was okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ready to,
All right. I hate to shut you guys down, but we're timed, so we're going to move on to witches. So we're back in the participation mode. Okay, ready? All right, so when you think of witch families, start showing them out to me.
Tradition.
What?
Extended.
extended,
Extended.
Tradition.
tradition, matriarchal,
Coven.
coven,
What was that last one?
Deep rooted.
Ancestors. All right, I'm going to pick out 2.
Okay.
All right, so matriarchal. Who said that? No one wants to claim it?
That's fine.
I can't hear you. Come to the mic. You won't be shy after
Because
this.
they won't be able to hear you out in the ether in the
Yes.
live stream.
A strong witch. It's just a very female-dominated culture, witches, but study about and passed down from.
And do you think that affects the way which family is managed?
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, so the tradition. Come on, tell us about it.
So it starts, my big one is the test that 13-year-olds do. Every 13-year-old does the same thing. They have to light a candle, close the book. It's the same tradition. Every family, the females keep the family's last name. It's the same thing for every family. It's a tradition. You don't break tradition.
Thank you. So, another thing I heard, you don't have to come up. Coven. Well, which one of you said coven? Already had a chance. All right, so a coven, according to these, in Shadow of Night.
Shadow of Night, it was flexible. They talked about how it was arranged on parish lines.
Right.
And it was very geographic. But it also, when you look at the witch families and the witch organization, it's also very democratic because they elect people to the reed. It's a very representational form of community and management as vampires who believe telling you what to do, and if you don't, they kill you. Simple as that. I mean, it's two incredibly different family dynamics we're talking about here. And then Deb has the brilliant idea that they're all going to come together and we're somehow going to make this all work. Then we have the demons.
Oh, you need me to?
Yeah.
You need me to?
Yeah, you're the call and response gal.
All right, I am the call and response gal, but my call is broken.
Your call is responding.
Okay. All right, so a demon family in one word. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, one
Eccentric.
Time. Eccentric?
It sounds like you're describing demons, but a demon family. Like
Non-existent. Who said that?
And I heard Shelley.
There you go, Shelley. Thank you.
And I also heard chaos.
I
Chaos
didn't
was
even
the
know
other
that
one.
was her.
I don't have the scratch.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Carter, please expand.
So a demon family is non-existent. It ties directly into the fact that in Discovery Witches, it tells us demons are not typically. It is the Nathaniel is the exception, and mother Agatha, and we see that and talk about how they don't have the family tradition, grow up surrounded by demons, not knowing what they are or why.
Sophie was born.
Who didn't know
now
how to
she's
handle her.
all- You'll have to explain later.
Yeah, that's a preview for tomorrow, people.
Too much.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of isolation for the demon in the family.
Well, and to spin off the chaos and the non-existence and the confusion, I'd like to posit an idea that for the longest time, any kind of family-type structure a demon would have would be dictated by circumstance. Would that be a good word too?
Yes.
Do any of you think they have their own way of putting together a family, or do they just be brought into a part of it? There's choice involved. Well, let's throw this into the mix too. Demons throughout much of the trilogy are seemingly lower class citizens.
That when you were reading it, feel that
Yes.
about demons?
Do you really think they have a choice of saying, hey, I just want to join your family? Taking that into account. Can you step up to the microphone, because you're making some wonderful, wonderful points. Right there. Thank you. Everybody on the live stream really needs to be important.
Sorry, it's a lot like a foster family situation where you could be lucky and have this nurturing family that wants to take you in and nurture you and give you your creative spirit. Or you could wind up with a family looking to make money, and like that situation where you're just there for their advantage, not for yours as a child. So you can wind up losing your sanity because you're not given that ability to thrive.
I'd like to pose this to you. In Shadow of Night, we have sorts of families. We've got School of Night, which seems to have a decent number of demons involved in it. And then we've got Father Hubbard's clan, which is a blended clan that includes using your foster family. Do you think that maybe one was a great foster placement and another a not so good one, or do you find them?
I think of it more as Father Hubbard really is in foster care. He's the kids on the street that get none of the services, that they need someone to pull them in and take care of them, but that person doesn't really have that resources. I think of the School of Night as a school where they brought them in and gave them what they needed, and it was because they had a better circumstance to find them. Those were all upper class people that were brought into that better circumstance. So if you're on the street with no resources, you wound up with Father Hubbard, who was loving and wanted to keep you in, but didn't quite know how to manage you and make you thrive. And then the School of Night had the resources able to make you thrive.
One thing we other than Kit, we don't know how he treated his demons. We know he treats Kit well, but Kit's a part of Matthew's group too. So is he treating Kit good because he might have secrets, or is he treating Kit good because he's a playwright and he's in the public eye? We don't know how the other demons. Yeah, and he's a spy. We don't know how he treats the other demons. They could be downstairs cleaning the toilets for all we know.
Yeah. And we just talked about this too on our episode. Kit had many masters. And I just think he was covering his bases because he was like scrounging for support. He needed patrons. That was what Matthew was for. And plus, he kind of loved Matthew, right?
Yeah.
We'll just put that aside.
As I like to call him, the kept Kit.
Yeah, yeah. And also, he served the Queen as a spy. So there was that. So he had to stay.
I think that's all survival instincts.
Yeah. So we have to wonder about his childhood and what made him think shelter him.
But I don't think it's uncommon for a demon to create family like that.
Look at us.
I mean, when you're forced into a circumstance where you have to try and cobble together a family, so many factors you have to take into account. And I think Deb's illustrated some beautifully in the trilogy in the way that she's woven these different types of family and different ways of having a family And by the end of the third book, she's created something entirely new,
So,
which kind of fixes most of the problems with the other three that we've started out with and rules out the infighting.
Agatha and Nathaniel in 782. This is the only grasp that they have of a family. And they have been so undercut for so long until that's the one unified demon family that they have and the one record of how they get there. And so I think that that's why she grasps so hard and all the demons appeal so much to Diana to bring this family to them. These are their ancestors. This is a line that they can trace. And so it becomes like an elevated thing, especially for those that are tuned in. And even Timothy, who's just all over the place, he knows how important it is for his ancestor to be preserved. They do have a sense of family, but they don't have anywhere to place it, and there's no one that they can put their hands on. But this document that is the skin and blood and everything of their family, like that is the grasp that they have. And so everything else in their lives is so disjointed and trying to mash it and being shoved into places where they don't fit, until that's the one tether that they can reach for. And I think that's why it becomes such an important thing for those that appeal to her to preserve and to bring these names to the forefront and not let them just die with this document. And so they get shoved around by every other creature and sidelined and just written out of the story. But they know at the foundation they're part of it.
But you also, we know, and we find out that they really are the story.
They are the story, and they have a sense of it. Like, so even though there are ripples of this family through the demon genome, like even though they're not connected in a family way, they all know, they all have this knowledge in different ways. Some of them are very, acute at knowing things. Some of them is just a feeling. Some is just a scattered thing. But that's the one thing that brings them all together. And they feel defenseless and useless because they have no power over bringing this thing back together. So they have to appeal to that, look down on them. I think like the demons are my saddest part of the whole trilogy.
if you ever notice on our demon logo, and there's a moon,
Yes.
our name is kind of
Yes.
how we feel. We're just kind of out there.
The demons are in between the witches and the
Yeah,
the vampires.
As Hamish, second man. Like
and
all
he
along.
lets Matthew know
Yeah,
that.
we
doesn't
saw
he?
that today.
And it's wonderful that he speaks up and defends himself, but also to be at that point and have to, he's on top of the world and he still has to justify his place to people that, are just hiding in the corner and pulling the strings for, all around. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one more, and then we got.
Original 782 is proof that they're equals. That's why it's so important to the demon. It's proof to the vampires and the witches. We may have bloodlines, we may not have history, but we are just as important as you, or we wouldn't be in this book.
Excellent point.
Okay, so we're going to end it with a call and response again. All right, so give me purpose of family.
Safety. Trust, love.
Food, clothing, shelter.
History.
That's right.
I think that's age old, since the beginning of time. Have the protection.
Yeah. I love your voice, by the way. It just. Love. That's like love when we're thinking. I hear no's and yeses. You have a lot to say, and it's all good, so you got to broadcast.
You got to do it.
Basic rule.
Closer.
Everyone deserves to be loved and love in return. And I think that's your basic structure of a family, that you're creating a family, you're building generations, and, you care for them, and you build them up and nurture them and help them become whoever they're going to be.
Of the three creatures, who do you think have the best model for nurturing love?
Witches.
Witches.
She's there.
And this is my sister, but it's not, I agree with what she said, but it's not always the family you're born into. The family you
Exactly.
choose
It's
to
a
create
sense of-
around you, the people you bring around you.
Having a sense of belonging isn't always your blood. It is friends.
So do you think that the fact that the witches have, not just because they're matriarchal, but because they also have a more communal way of forming a family in coven, that
they procreate? I mean, they
helps,
procreate.
and it
Vampires
also
don't
helps-
really procreate. They you know what I mean? It's witches give life to each generations.
Well, so does a vampire maker. It's a different kind of life.
It's a
but they
different,
give
yeah.
life.
But I mean, it's the nurturing and the actual.
Okay, so which one of you said no, it's not?
Much focus.
Oh, come on.
Come on up.
I don't think there's too much focus on love anywhere. I think there's not enough focus on love in our world, in all the world, whether they're the worlds in the books or whether they're I think there's enough focus. I think that, love never dies. It's there,
That's the thing.
and we need to have more of it.
I agree. I think it's a basic need that everyone wants, whether you want to admit it or not.
Hi.
Hi, Jay.
Hello.
All the way from Hawaii.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. Well, I think there was a quote that that came out of a movie that I think that could apply when dealing with love and family, which is that love is just a word until you find someone who gives it meaning. And I think that was from Book Club, by the way, if you guys watch the movie. So I'm thinking of that quote while I'm thinking about families, right? Because it's so much of a different spectrum depending on where you land in the definition of love, right? Because love is a spectrum, right? We feel a different type of love to friends. We feel a different type of loves to your significant other. So I think that in the realm of family, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the basis, but it also has so many different layers and levels that you kind of got to meet it where you meet it.
Now,
does that make sense?
do you think that in a vampire family, because the temporal span, I mean, everybody says you can love your family, but you don't necessarily like them.
Yep.
Well, make that writ large for eternity. Do you think that there are certain things about a vampire family that helps manage those expectations?
I do. And I think that's where loyalty comes in, where rules come in. I think that because you span from so many generations, centuries even, and you come from different places, that you need some kind of theme through your family to kind of hold everyone together, and not rip each other apart, right? Because in the vampire family, you have resources, you have the knowledge, you have power that other families may not have, and the experience that other families may not have. So now if they all rip each other's heads off, no one can survive,
Your family doesn't survive.
Yeah, your family doesn't survive.
Don't make me do my mom analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Come on, make your mom an analogy.
That is a family. I mean, the mafia, that is a family.
This is true. And they have lots of rules.
Yeah, very similar to vampire rules.
Yeah, it's pretty, there's some paterfamilias in modern day, really.
I mean, concrete block,
Yeah.
your head off. No.
And bury it 30 miles away.
Well, I'm going to talk about this. I got time.
Families of choice.
Yeah, let's talk about families of choice. I mean, that's where we end up. We end up with true choice at the end of the Book of Life. We've got the Bishop Claremonts. Fernando asks to join. He's welcomed. He makes that choice of his own will. The close ties they end up through using godparents with Margaret and Sophie and Nathaniel, and they're brought into that.
And even Matthew taking in Jack.
Yeah, bringing Jack back into the.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
yeah, I was
perfect.
now, in coming back around to that, at the beginning of Book of Life, I would argue that what we have is a family of circumstance put into those four walls of Septor that transforms into a family by the end. The danger is gone. Part of the reason driving them together passed, yet they all stay together. And that's where it comes full circle, and it finally evolves into that family. Folks that were in those four walls stay together out of desire rather than need. There you go.
That it goes from being tolerated to being accepted.
Yeah, it's the difference between tolerance and acceptance. I'd like to open up the floor.
anybody
Questions?
else have any
Comments,
bring to the
thoughts?
floor, the table?
Something that really stands out in your mind about families in the world, besides the one we've got sitting here right now. I mean, we've got one of the biggest families of choice sitting in this room right now.
I'm saying you guys have been our family. You didn't know it.
6 years.
For 6 years, you didn't know it. And hello, family.
And we've been each other's family of choice for 6 years. And
Yeah.
Deb's our materfamilias, I guess.
Yeah.
And more than a manner of speaking. And I was going to say, I've got, yes, please step up.
Okay, let's see if I can get this out properly, how I'm thinking it in my head. A few days ago, I was thinking about coming, and I thought, it hit me all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm going to be surrounded by people just like me. This has never happened before, and it's far beyond acceptance. People at work accept me. They accept my crazy. My family accepts my crazy. They don't quite get it. They accept it. They love me. But I belong in this family.
Yay.
Belong. And our mother, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my God, how does she do it? I watched her today, and she gave each person that got through the signing a genuine hug, a genuine word. It's like, God. So yeah, love. She's our mother of love. Family, we all belong here because we are united by that love. So that's all I wanted to say.
Excellent.
Thank you for having us, and I just wanted to leave you all with a few words that have been attributed to Pericles, but I'd like to think actually another one of Philippe de Clermont's misattributed quotes.
You know, he writes everything. That was all him.
Yeah, he's everyone's best ghostwriter.
Okay.
What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone, but is woven in the lives of others. And as family, every one of us is a member, is a weaver, lives of the people. And thank you for having us back again.
Thanks for being our family.
Don't make us sing now. Are we ahead of time or behind time?
All right. If you want to listen more or you want more of the demons, www.demonsdiscuss.com.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone watching us live via live stream. And thank you to everyone in attendance here in Philadelphia.
And for us here in Philly, it's not over. We have happy hour. And for people online, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Just really quickly, anyone in the Bishop House autograph session, if you can please head on to the second floor overlook lounge. Thank you.
Check.
Yes, please. Because understand. She's like, I love your voice and care. I'm like, can I have you repeat that? I tell my husband. Because my husband's like, shut up, you're so loud. I'm like, I know, it's great. All right. Okay. She has my email. you're good. Oh, man. All right. Oh, wait. Make it out of I'm the girl that was like freaking out about the television show.
No,